what's the future involvement for you in NASCAR? Just status quo, continue. Martin's going to give us another year, right? He continues to. I want Martin to race for a really long time, but he keeps dragging us on
year by year,
right? But I mean, your involvement in the sport has been there for a long time. I imagine that you're going to continue to find ways to integrate your brand into NASCAR and continue that that crossover, cross pollination that you're talking about.
Yep, well, I hope so. It provides a lot of energy and a lot of fun for everybody in our company and our customers, and like I said, building our brand and having fun along the way. So.
How many employees do you have overall? Because you have Tracker Boats, you have Hatteras,
my God,
Big Cedar.
Yeah.
You also started, which we didn't get to touch on, the Tracker Off Road. So purchasing from who was that? Bad Boy Buggies
and Textron.
And Textron, right? Yeah,
it's a partnership.
How many employees in total? Everything.
We have. This astounds me where we came from. We have a little over 40,000 team members today, plus our independent boat dealers that are kind of like they are a part of our family, and many of them are exclusive with our brands, and our boats, most of them are built in the Ozarks, and a lot of now generations of people working in these plants that have so much pride in what they do. Makes me really proud of everybody.
That made me think when you were talking about the Bass Pro Shops and having that local that local flair to wherever you are. I imagine that also creates the relationship with the employees, because they appreciate that, right? And that the employees that work in those stores, is that helpful to, because it's really hard, especially in the last several years, just to get that dedicated employee, so I imagine that also helps.
You mentioned JP being there with you when you went through that building. I often see him by your side in a lot of the moments that we've met, and when I've even went to see you at a store or what have you. How involved is he in helping you with some of the more personal decisions that you have to make on this journey of creating this business?
Him and his sisters are very important. John is like our number one ambassador to stand up for our customers. And we have a lot of sharp people, backgrounds come into the company from different walks of life, different skill sets. Few, if any, have the passion and the knowledge firsthand to relate directly to our customers, because they're so involved in fishing and, in John's case, hunting. So I think he's an advocate. I know he's a strong voice for our customers. Yeah. And so he's involved quite a bit in that. He's passionate I just spend hours like working on a catalog page. He said, Dad, no, we got to go online. We got to, like you have in your podcast, there's different ways to communicate with people, but he's my buddy. I was showing LW before we came in here, my screensaver on my phone's a photo of me and John out in the woods with 2 turkeys that we took when the virus hit and thought the world was coming to an end. Our whole family was just staying in this little cabin. My wife Jeannie, John, his wife Kelly now, sister, her husband, the kids, grandkids, some of the grandkids. And it was during turkey season that April. And John guides me, and we got these 2 turkeys, and he put his camera up on a stump and took a selfie of us. And a few months later, I said, John, let me borrow your phone. And he handed me his phone, and it was that picture of us. And that he had picked that out for his. I said, can you put that on your dad's phone too? So, he's my best buddy in the outdoors and sharing life. And thank you for asking.
I remember walking through the museum, and he has, he's in there, right? He's a lot of the mounts and a lot of the experiences that he's been able to, enjoy. Were apparent, and that was a lot of fun. I admire y'all's relationship, and I admire your ability to raise a really sharp man, but at the same time be his friend, because that's a tough balance as a parent, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to have a friendship, but that respect always still being there, and y'all have done that perfectly.
Well, I'm very proud of my family, my son. I did listen to Hank Parker's podcast when he was here, And it was very powerful, beautiful. And he shared in there openly, like sometimes your dad, and just being able to share his love for you guys. And I was reminded, because I think I told you this maybe years ago, Dale, but I told your dad. So I'm sitting around. My dad came from a pretty rough way, and as far as not having much, but it was not till after I was 21. It was old school, strict. And he never used the love word. I mean, it was there, but he didn't never say.
Yeah.
He just wasn't, we didn't say love you to each other. It was there, but so this one night after I was 21, he never would let me drink in front of him. But we weren't drunk, but we just had a drink by a campfire. I was sometime after I turned 21. And my dad that evening around the campfire, he chose to share with me, not looking for sympathy, but he just wanted me to know more about himself, like where he'd come from. And he shared with me things I never knew. I knew he was in the Army, but I didn't know how rough. And he told me about going off and being in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. And he looked to me through the smoke, and he said, "Son, your dad's lucky to be here across the fire from you." And I said, "What do you mean?" He started telling me about all the young people that didn't fare as well as he did. So anyway, he shared with me several things he had a rough time cutting firewood all winter, and some son of a gun, I cleaned that up, stole it, and just little things, big things, but just more about his life he wanted to pass on. And we got up from that fire, and I looked at my dad, and I said, "Dad," I said, "I sure do love you." He looked me right back. He never hesitated, and he said, "Son, you won't know the true meaning of the word love unless you're lucky enough you have your own kids." And that when John Paul was born, like I don't know how many years later, but it came rushing back to me.
Yeah.
I know you both get to enjoy that, being parents, and what a special thing that is. And
Damn.
to me today here, this is about, more than anything, it's about family traditions, like whether it's racing, fishing, outdoors, and just hugging each other.
That's pretty powerful.
That is
Man, what a great
powerful.
moment.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us. Yeah, he told you that he loved you and more in with those eloquent words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. And then, that's kind of cool, because then he gave you this gift when you became a parent.
Yeah.
The memory comes back. I don't know how to top that one. I really appreciate you giving us some time today. It's been pretty amazing to get to know you over all these years. I've always appreciated you for being genuine and being accessible. We have a lot of people that get involved in our industry, and a lot of businesses and organizations that invest, and we're very thankful for all of them. But your ability to be within arm's length at all times as an individual in front of your brand is so nice. To be able to call you in, I mean, you talked about the 40,000 people that you're managing their livelihoods, and risking your business every single day. To give us a few hours to come in here and sit down means a lot to me and Kelly. Your relationship with our dad, the fact that 3 flag flies on the top of that mountain, and that's important to you. I can't tell you what that means to me, and I'm sure Kelly feels exactly the same way. All these years later, you always kind of worry about your father's impact on the industry, or his impact on others will be soon forgotten. Just time has a way of melting away. That force that he was. And you're one of those people out there that are telling his story today, and continuing to fly that flag on that mountain is just a very, very cool thing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Feel blessed I got to know your dad.
Yeah.
He's a heck of a man.
Yeah.
He's raised
I was
fine kids.
never so proud to walk into the Daytona Bass Pro Shop many years ago and see the picture of Dad there, fishing, and I mean, just all of those kinds of things. Very relational.
Yeah.
You're very down to earth, humble, relational.
That's right.
Person. Relationships.
So we want to say thanks Thanks for coming and talking to us a little bit.
Thank
love
you.
Love to have you come back.